Hey, how's it going? You have a clean record, 700 and above credit score, spectacular house, wife, kids, white picket fence, great little dog to go with it. Well, here's 8 reasons why you should not join an outlaw motorcycle club.
We run the night, we run the night, run.
Number one, loyalty. To me, loyalty is the number one reason why if you're thinking about joining a motorcycle club and you're weighing out the pros and cons, I would really spend time thinking about this. I know 40-year members that have been national president and been put out bad, all for having an opinion on the direction of the club. Now, I'm not saying all clubs lack loyalty, but I'll tell you right now, it is not a common thing. I don't care who you are. If you take that vest off, people that are in your everyday life that tell you they love you will be out your life in the blink of an eye. I've seen members of clubs die and their so-called brothers are comforting their wife. I've seen it like a little too comforting. Extra hugs for the dead brother's wife. Let me tell you a story of a coward who was identical to Lucifer. Like Lucifer was the most loved angel by God, and he'd whisper in the other angels' ears. Why we gotta listen to him? I've seen the same thing happen with a snake in the club. He would whisper to everybody about how much of a shit job the president did. They would have their little Telegram apps and he was constantly calling brothers out. But in person, he always wanted to smooth things out. Never kept the same energy. Till one day, one of the higher ups, one of the very feared members of the club was gonna wash him up because he found out what this snake was saying about him behind his back. So someone comes to his rescue, my mentor. Unfortunately, maybe a year later, when he was public enemy number one, you know this snake was the main one telling people how incompetent he was. No good deed goes unpunished. This snake helped them run him out the club. These are the type of people that exist in clubs. There's always that one whispering Lucifer type in the club. Let me know in the comments if you know someone like this. Number two, pressure to conform. If you want to join a motorcycle club and you're truly a free spirit, not good with rules, let me know in the comments if you're not good with rules. It might be a good decision never to join an MC, especially if it's a 1% outlaw motorcycle club. There will be rules that make no sense to the average person just jumping in the MC culture. If there's some cool bike show that you want to go to, you will not be able to because some club you never heard of is having an event at some shitty bar and it's mandatory. You know how many years I personally miss Sturgis or Myrtle because we have some mandatory event in a totally different state because Kansas wants to throw an annual party during Myrtle Bike Week. It makes no sense to me. Same thing with Sturgis. And if you're in a club that's not cool with the clubs that go to Sturgis, you can't go to Sturgis now. Now, I know a lot of people are not in the know, but all the major biker rallies, there's some big time 1% clubs that run that territory or that event, and their rivals will never be seen at these events. So if you're thinking of joining a club and it's going to be freedom and the road, think again. It's going to be a road to a boring place while everybody else is on the same road going to the same place to have fun. You will be at some random clubhouse in West Bubble. That's just how it is sometimes. Members will feel pressure to conform to club rules or fines start being put out. Number three, gang culture. Now, I'm not saying that motorcycle clubs are gangs, but if you're new to one and you're thinking about joining, there's some things you should know. Some motorcycle clubs do have a gang mentality, gang tendencies. If you just want to ride and don't want no issues, you need to understand what you're signing up for. You cannot join a 1% club or outlaw motorcycle club with a mindset like, yeah, I know they got beef with the club on the other side of town, but I don't really ride out there. I don't have any business out there, so I'm not going to get into it with them. When you're a part of a collective, you don't need to go to the other side of town. When your brother is on the other side of town and they split his melon just because your brother wears the same vest as you, you're involved. And some will say, of course, anybody knows that. Not really. You'll be surprised how many times people fold up when shit gets thick. It happens all the time. If you're not built for conflict with other clubs or groups, don't join a club that you know has issues with other clubs. Now, if something just happens, that's part of the game. Maybe they didn't have those problems before and it happens. That's life. I'm telling you, I get sent paperwork by members of 1% clubs all the time, showing me another 1%er is testifying against them. I'm just not in the paperwork business. I don't like putting people on blast like that. Also, another thing is the legal issues. Clubs can attract law enforcement scrutiny, which will lead to legal troubles for members, even if they're not directly involved in the activity. Wrong place, wrong time. There's Ricos out there with a lot of good brothers who had nothing to do with the situation. The negative stereotypes don't just apply to the public, they apply to the police too. Being part of a motorcycle club can subject members to negative stereotypes, impacting their personal and professional lives. I know 1%ers that have lost their jobs, Harley Davidson dealerships, even corporate jobs, just because someone saw them wearing the vest and got the wrong impression of who they are. Number 4, focus on image. The focus on image could be one of the worst reasons to join a motorcycle club. For some people, motorcycle clubs are a big-time fashion show. There's a huge attraction to the way a member of an MC looks. Even I, when I first joined the MC, loved the way the cut looked, loved how the patches looked, how cool it looked in a pack of Harley Davidsons, the attention it drew, hearing all those bikes. Some of that is positive and some of it is negative. I remember I had a brother that used to get so mad. 2 of the brothers in the club would wear Versace scarves with their cuts on and everything. He felt like they were kind of disrespecting the club and making it seem soft. Now, I've been guilty of wearing Versace shades, not with the club. My sin was I like the destroyed looking jeans, not just the plain old man jeans. I'm from the Bronx. What do you want from me? But when I'm talking about fashion in this sense, I'm talking about when brothers use it as an intimidation factor. They want to be tough. They couldn't hack it when they were younger in the gang world. So now they're 42 and figure out they're going to take a crack at becoming a gangster. Those colors, that vest is everything to them. A heavy emphasis on image and reputation can distract from the joy of riding, why most get down with a club in the first place. Because they're so into this gangster persona, they start beefing with their own brothers. So instead of riding and going out to eat and having a good time, we're having a meeting because brothers are at each other's throats. Sometimes it becomes so much about persona that you lose your brother. He's not as funny anymore. He's more stone-faced, and you lose that personal connection. Number 6, aggressive recruitment. The downfall of motorcycle clubs, how aggressively they search for new members. Some clubs are very aggressive, taking in so many members so fast, you could surround yourself with the worst kind of people in the world. I'm not against patchovers, but they do bring in a lot of strays, especially if the patchover brings them in without prospecting. Some clubs will patch them over as a prospect, like all of them prospects. I think that's the best way to do it. The worst members I ever met didn't prospect, came in fully patched from a patchover. They have no respect for the club and most times have zero loyalty to the club because they haven't earned it. If you don't earn something, it's not the same to you, no matter how you put it. I've seen it. These people have their hands on their vests, ready to take it off and leave it at the drop of a hat for an argument. The easier it is to put it on, the easier it is to take it off. This is where the rats, police officers, probation officers, pedos, the worst kind of people join your club. Clubs are supposed to background check as soon as you walk in the door. When this is not done, you can be put in a position where you're shaking hands with one of these monsters, and then one day, a month later, you hear that they got into a dispute with the wrong club member and they get exposed that this dude is a pedo or a cop or something. And I blame the people that slid him in the back door and don't tell everybody else. Like, don't tell me they didn't know that. Something that major, there's no way it could be hidden. So if you don't want to shake hands with these type of people, never join a motorcycle club that doesn't background check from the gate. Number 7, financial burden. If you're new to motorcycle culture, a main reason not to join a club is if you could take your pockets right now and make bunny ears. It's just gonna be too much of a financial strain. You gotta buy a bike. If you're joining most 1% or outlaw motorcycle clubs, you're gonna have to have an American-made bike. Some, Harley Davidson is a requirement. We know how expensive Harley could get. So let's say you're one of those lucky people and your father or your grandfather left you his bike in the will. Let's talk about what else financial comes with motorcycle club membership. Getting your actual vest can be hundreds of dollars, or you could get a cheap one for 50 or 60 bucks. But the actual patches that go on your cut, it comes up to a couple $100, maybe 150, 140, It depends. There's monthly dues, mandatory for all members to pay every month. And if you fall behind, you get kicked out the club. You're no longer a brother no more. I've seen $50 to up to hundreds of dollars a month in bigger clubs for monthly dues. How about club events? Paying to get in, buying some drinks, buying some club gear, t-shirts, hoodies, and so on to support your club. At a certain time of the year, national clubs want you to kick up money to the mother chapter. What if this comes at a time where bills are tight, Christmas is coming, you got kids? Also, a brother gets in trouble. Everybody got to kick up something for lawyer fees. This one I respect about most MCs, even if this is financial. A brother goes down on that road and loses his life, the club puts money together to help his family pay for the funeral. That is one of the most honorable things about MC culture. There is a lot of costs that could come from being a member of a motorcycle club and way more for Outlaw Motorcycle Club. Number 8, drug use. I'm gonna tell you a funny story. I remember early in my club career walking into a room full of the nomads. They were all taking bumps, and I just looked around the room and I'm like, these dudes are addicts, like what's going on? I looked at them all and I said, you know this ain't okay, right? And they all looked at me like, what? And I said, y'all are like fiends right now. And they all bust out laughing. And one of the elders said, brother, this is outlaw shit. Now, me, I grew up in the Bronx. In our culture, it was straight up Biggie, never get high off your own supply. And we looked down on people who were addicts like you're weak. We prided ourselves on being hustlers, not customers. That's something that stayed with me the whole time I had that 1% diamond on. Even to this day, I have never took a bump in my life. Now, to be fair, my father was out of my life and in prison my whole life for that. So I know what happens to kids and family when you're an addict, and I wanted no parts of that. I'm a very strong-willed person. Other brothers I have seen go down the road of addiction to the point where they lose their wife, their families, and eventually the club for stealing. You know, I've been in situations where brothers got dragged out butt naked. I don't know what that's about. I don't know why that's ever been a thing, but beaten and thrown out butt naked for stealing. If you're in recovery, I would stay away from an outlaw motorcycle club because you might not be able to resist. So I hope you got value out of this. If you want more motorcycle club content, hit that subscribe button. 80% of the people that watch this are not subscribed. Hit that sub button and get your track races now. They're on www.demonsroad.com. And thank you for tuning in to Demons Road TV, the holy grail of MC culture. Like, subscribe, and comment. And oh yeah, we ghosting, baby.
Ooh.